All right, I want to show you the type of days that I look for when I'm trading and the overall setups and what I'm thinking for the day. And this is basically how the day is forming. And there are a few things that I look for. There's many types of days that you can have, but these are kind of the days that I think I perform best on. And this is my absolute favorite. Is, let's just say price starts out and we have a nice downtrend here. What I'm looking for is some type of downtrend, and then I want it to form a bottom. At some point I want to see it either do a double bottom or we start seeing higher lows. And then what I want to see is price up comes to a certain area, and this is usually at a important level. Maybe it's a daily moving average, maybe it's yesterday's close, it could be yesterday's high. And then what you want to see is price comes up to that level, and then every single time that it rejects from that level, it starts forming higher lows. As you can see right in here, we have higher lows. Well, this is an ascending wedge. This is my favorite pattern to trade. And then you can see VWAP will look something like this. VWAP will come down and VWAP will level out here. So you can see price will reject off VWAP maybe once, and then it has this nasty downtrend. It finds a bottom. Then we start forming this wedge pattern under VWAP. That's absolute favorite setup. And I'm looking for a nice move to the upside here. And it depends. There could be different levels in above VWAP here, but most aggressively you can target the entire move back up. There could be a big moving average here or something where price might have rejected off of that you would want to target. And you could wait for the retest, so it breaks out of this area and then it retests, then it goes. But I find that the longer this wedge forms, the more power it has and the less likely it is to retest. It's just going to go, and it's going to go hard. So this is my absolute favorite setup. And so now let's look at another kind of day. I like days like this where we have a nice strong uptrend, and then we reach a point where we start consolidating. And this is usually after we had a nice move up. And what I'm looking for here, I could be looking for a few different things. So let's just say VWAP looks something like this. And then we will also have the 5-minute 50 that would probably look something like this. And I'm going to color this. I'm going to color VWAP a different color here. We'll make VWAP purple because that's what it is on my chart. Okay, so we have the 50 moving average on the 5-minute time frame, which I think is a super important level because I think a lot of institutions use this as for their algo trading. When price hits the 5-minute 50, that will trigger a buy. And it's an important level. So if it doesn't buy, then maybe the buying algo or trending algo is turned off, and it's going to start rejecting from that area. But what I want to see here is one of two things. This could just be that price got exhausted and it's consolidating before its next move up. So I'm looking for basically a breakout from this level or a breakdown. But you have to put it in context. There could be a very big level that is right above here. What if this is the daily 20 moving average that is right here, or the 50 or the 200? It could be a very big level that if price does kind of break out, there's not that much room to go before it's probably going to reject again. So, but if there's nothing here, if I've got quite a bit ways and I have a nice target that's out here, if it's a big level, then I might be looking for more upside. Because if I have a big, let's just say there's the 50-day moving average up here on the daily chart, there's a very big area that price is drawn to, and a lot of algos are going to buy or sell in that area. There's a lot of liquidity in that area. So if price has just come up here and it's consolidated, I'm thinking maybe we hit the 50 today. So I'm looking for more longs than I would shorts. But at the same time, I'm also waiting for a reject of this level. So I could trade this to the upside and target a big area that's above it, or I could be looking for a move to the downside here where we break down and we either bounce off the 50 or maybe we go to VWAP. And then from there, I mean, price could continue. There's multiple trades in this kind of day, but at this kind of day, I'm looking to ride price on the way up. I'm looking for bull flags, opportunities to get in, maybe a bounce off of a moving average on the way up. Once it hits this consolidation, I'm paying attention to price, and I'm saying, okay, when it starts consolidating here, what's above? If there's nothing above, then are we going to get a breakdown from here? Are we going to retest the 50, or are we going to go back to VWAP? Maybe the 50 and the VWAP are at the same spot. A lot of times you'll see it like this too, which is just even more confirmation, which makes this even a bigger level to look out for. And then I'm looking for the reaction at this level. So I have many trades here. I have trades on every single bull flag. I have trade on either the breakout here or the breakdown of this level. And I have a trade, what's the reaction to VWAP? So this day, I would probably have like at least 5 or 6 good trades on a day like this. And I see this happen a lot where we have a big move up, consolidation, and then we go higher. Now, very similar to this kind of day, I see days that are like this. And this is pretty similar to that, where we have a move up. And let's say we get just a little bit. So once we start having nice moves up, then price starts exhausting. We might just break that high a little bit, and then we don't come down all the way. And then right here, this is the point I'm looking for. So we failed to follow through. And what I'm looking for in this area right here, and usually this happens like before 10:30, where we get a strong move up, and then you start seeing the overall trend. So we get an impulse move, a little retracement, big impulse, retracement, big impulse, and then retracement, and then the impulse like kind of dies out. It makes a higher high, so we're still in an uptrend, and maybe we make a higher low, but it's just not as strong. And then what I'm looking for is this point right here. I'm looking to see like what happens next, because this gets me into the mindset of like, okay, something just like triggered off. We don't have another big impulse up. This trend is starting to slow down. We've been at it for probably about an hour, and then we start seeing price turn. And when we fail to make a higher high, that's when I start like really looking for, okay, where's my support area? So I could start seeing support in this area. Let's just say support is right here. And I'm looking for a breakdown of this area. So maybe VWAP is kind of running like this. And what I want to see is, okay, are we going to break down here and go to VWAP? Or what we could do is, let's say the 550 is up here and it's trending like this. I also want to be aware are we just going for a deeper pullback? Because we might not go all the way back to VWAP. The trend might not be over. Instead of like these shallower pullbacks and big impulse up, maybe we just got a little exhausted and we just need a deeper pullback before we can continue moving on. So I would target higher highs here too. If we just like, I would look for this breakdown, but then I would probably start scaling out once I hit the 50 moving average. If the 50 is above VWAP, I'd be very cautious around this area. And I would trail pretty closely here because I don't want a big impulse move off of the 50 and then we continue our trend. So I would just be targeting the 50 in this situation. And then depending if we do bounce and maybe we form a higher low, maybe I get long again. But I probably would take most of my profit when we hit the 50. If the 50 is not there, then I'd probably be looking to target VWAP. And it would also depend on like how strong we get like a lot of volume coming here, then we might be going all the way down to VWAP. So you just have to kind of look at it. Okay, here's another day that I see quite a bit, just because we've been in such an insane bull market for the past like 2 years is these strong trend days. You might see something like this. It might get a little pullback here, but for whatever reason, we just can't go higher. In this kind of trade, I look for this kind of day, like this is like towards the end of the day. Let's just say like 3 o'clock, 3:30, where we just trended basically all day, maybe till like noon. And then we maybe had a little pullback, but we held and we're very strong. And then we're still up here, but we just can't break this level. What I'm looking for, and at this point, we're pretty far away from VWAP at this point. So let's just say the day we started out at, VWAP's like way down here. Make it purple. And what I'm looking for is just a flash sell off at the end of the day. I'm looking for, and it might not go all the way down to VWAP. We might just take out a couple levels here, because there are people who got long in this area, and there's probably a lot of people who got long here. So what I'm looking for is like a flat, a flush out of here. And do we get more downside? Maybe we get a flush here too, because then we stop out all the people who got long in this area and this area. We might not go all the way to VWAP, but that's what I'm looking for. All right, so those are the kind of days that I feel like I do the best on, and hopefully you learned something there. I'll see you in the next video.